We're going to be chatting the 2020 race because that race is heating up. Yahoo Finance's Rick Newman sat down with presidential candidate Kirsten Gillibrand, where she discussed everything from the corporate tax rate to the Women's World Cup victory. Let's watch.
Should the U.S. women's soccer team go to the White House if they're invited?
That's up to them. I think they should certainly be paid equal pay for equal work. And since they are winning and have won and have more goals and more viewers, they really should be paid not only as much as the men, but perhaps more.
All right, so a popular take there from Gillibrand. Rick, what did you make with the rest of what she had to say in your guys'?
Well, I'm all for paying the women's team more than the men's. I mean, they're just a great show and they're a great draw.
Sure.
So why not rectify the problem and just, raise them by one or two? Yeah, we talked about the 2020 race. Kirsten Gillibrand is a senator from New York. She's 52, so she's younger than Elizabeth Warren. She says that she is the best candidate for women. She has fought for women's rights in various ways. She pushed hard to get Al Franken out of the Senate when he had that transgression a couple of years back. Some Democrats don't like that about her. They think she pushed too hard against Al Franken, but that's where she stands. And she's actually campaigning on against what you might call legal or legalized corruption in government, which is all the money that pours into politics from corporate PACs and other sources, lobbyists, and all the money that companies spend on lobbying and on members of Congress who retire and then go make millions of dollars as lobbyists. She would end that for life. And she is now en route to what she calls a Broken Promises tour, where she's going to Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Ohio, I believe, and she's going to talk about the promises President Trump made when he was campaigning in 2016 and the ones that she says he has not kept.
Well, a lot of people who were watching the first debate said that she delivered. And we had Eric Swalwell already bow out of the race, right? So we're down one. But then today we got an addition, billionaire Tom Steyer, also jumping into the race. Take a look.
If you think that there's something absolutely critical, try as hard as you can and let the chips fall where they may. And that's exactly what I'm doing. My name's Tom Steyer. I'm running for president.
There you go. Tom Steyer's in it.
That background.
We're backed up.
Where is he, in a barn?
We were down one. Now we're back up one. So, I mean, what are we dealing with? I mean, how does she play into all of this? I mean, another billionaire into the mix here. So obviously people are going to connect the dots and say, is this a Democrat version of President Trump?
And there's a case to be made that it is. So, we've got a lot of different campaigns that are funded in different ways. So Gillibrand is not taking corporate money. And that is also the case with some candidates such as Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, who actually are raising a lot of money without hitting the corporate coffers. Joe Biden, who's still the front runner on the Democrats, he is taking some larger dollar donations. So is Pete Buttigieg, and they're bringing in a lot of money. And then you have Tom Steyer, who just will presumably fund his own campaign, which, by the way, we haven't been talking much about Howard Schultz because he's kind of backburnered himself with a back injury.
What's going on with that, by the way?
What's going on with Howard Schultz is, the short version is, Howard said, if he's basically said, if the Democrat is a leftist, I'm going to run as a centrist independent. But if the Democratic candidate is more of a centrist, such as Joe Biden, then Howard Schultz presumably won't run. Meanwhile, he did hurt his back, and he's been, rehabbing himself for a few months. But nonetheless, so Tom Steyer would just fund his own campaign. So that's three different funding models right there, I guess. I will say that, just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean you're going to get anywhere.
No. And it also doesn't help qualify for debates when we're talking about their different hurdles.
That's right. So if we could just talk about Ross Perot for a moment, who died today at the age of 89. He's relevant to this because, of course, he ran as an independent candidate in 1992, and he got 15% of the vote, which surprised everybody. That still is the high watermark for any independent candidate since 1912. But he didn't win a single electoral vote.
Yep.
So, he could generate an interest for himself, and he could fund his own campaign and pay for advertisements, but he didn't win any votes. And so I think that for, years following, rich people looked at Ross Perot and said, how much money do I want to spend to get no electoral votes?
Sure.
I mean, it's a nice vanity project, but if you really want to win, you have no chance. So,
and I mean, it's just another option too.
So
if it's donating to politicians or doing it yourself and forcing the issues that you want to be talked about, it's another route to go for now.
So
but we gotta.
The different thing now is Trump ran within a party, and Tom Steyer another been running within a party.
And again, it's still crowded, just as crowded as it was before. All right, Rick Newman, thank you so much for joining us.